Welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, Pat and James discuss how not to rush creative work or work to a false deadline.
Hey, James.
Yes.
I'm here on the back deck of the Gifted Underachievers Clubhouse. And as you know, I just stained the handrails, and now I'm watching the stain dry. It's like watching paint dry, but
Uh-huh.
different.
And you're watching, you know what's so exciting about that is
No.
watching the stain absorb into the wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the entire Gifted Underachievers Clubhouse, except for certain marble and other components, are made from rare species wood.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I knew that.
So, yeah, and with an absorbency that is second to none. So it
Mm.
stains like
It stains like you like pine.
if only.
I mean, so the handrails are the arbutus tree, of course, which is a
Right,
hardwood.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
No, and the handrails in some of the other places are made out of the Bodhi tree that the Buddha actually sat under.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yep. We got our hands on that, turned it into some nice little Finnish carpentry
You know
accent.
what? Yeah, sue us.
Yeah, yeah. Come at us. Our lawyer right now is in the control room, not looking very happy.
Controlling nothing because we're loose cannons.
And he's doing this, that rush signal where
Yeah,
you
okay, so
you rush your fingers around
you
to
know what?
hurry up.
Well, that's I've been getting, that's part of our what I want to talk about. I'm only out here watching the stain dry because I decided not to rush anything today.
Just for today.
Oh, I kind of have to rush after we finish talking, actually.
Okay. Well, then let's hurry up and get this over with. So,
Okay.
no, I think that's great. And what is this born of?
The imperative to rush has been on my mind lately. I have a couple of client-related projects that I feel some time pressure on.
Mm,
And those, of course, that's a normal state of life with me. I work to deadline.
hmm
And I also have to remember that uh, when I give a deadline, I can do that deadline. If somebody is prodding a little bit to have it delivered early,
hmm
that's fine for, I can be absolutely have that conversation. But the creative work, which is what I do, cannot be rushed to good effect most of the time,
Right,
in my
right,
experience.
right.
So there's been that, and then I also have this personal project, as you know, the Frankenstein novel. And boy, were you right last year when I said I'm going to get the first draft done by December 18th. I was so delusional. I was in the throes of like a slalom ride to burnout, and having to pressure myself to get that first draft done in that time frame was 100% ridiculous. But there I was rushing myself
Yeah,
mentally, going, "Oh, if you had this first draft done when you go to Spain, you can then do the second draft." Like, so what?
yeah,
You know?
yeah. And so what we're slowly approaching, we're stalking it, is a more structured way to think about this. But so you wrote something in a recent email that we sent out announcing the release of a episode
Hmm.
80.
Yeah.
And you start out, it was about our situation reports, and you wrote, "We're both barely avoiding burnout in our creative and creative adjacent work," right?
Yeah.
And so when you get into that frame of mind, you get into this, I need to rush because I need to finish things. And
Yeah.
then when you realize too that we don't get salaries, right?
Hmm.
Nobody is paying us to have water cooler chats,
Right.
or for sick days or vacation days. We get paid based on production,
Hmm.
right? Hitting milestones.
Yeah.
That's our thing. So if we're feeling a little financial angstiness, and this is universal to people in creative adjacent work, of course.
Yeah.
Um, so if we're feeling a little financial angstiness, then that internal trigger to rush a little bit
Yeah.
starts to kick in. And so what I hear you explaining is that there are external drivers
Hmm.
that try and push us to rush, and there's internal drivers that try to push us to rush.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say it's not just creative, it's also creative work. So both.
Mhm.
The internal driver for me to rush through a first draft of the Frankenstein novel was to make my life easier in March. Well, it would made my I couldn't have done it. It was physically and emotionally and literally impossible. However, both drivers are always there, it feels like. And it would be the same, I would imagine, for a painter who's got a big show coming up, or even a painter who just wants to sell a painting
Oh
that
yeah.
month so they can pay their studio rent, or pay their studio assistant. Like
Mhm.
it's heavy duty on all the fields, creative
Yeah.
wise. You just don't get
Oh yeah.
paid unless you've done the thing.
Yeah. If so we get in a sense commissioned to do creative work for other
Hmm.
people, right?
Yeah.
And so same thing, like, a painter gets commissioned to, a certain, so many paintings, and the rush is, oh my gosh, I want to get this done because I want to get paid, but I also want to have more time to do my own work.
Yeah.
So that's part of it too. But, thinking about pushing back against the imperative to rush,
Hmm.
I think is where we're going toward. And I know, I feel it certainly, and there are times, I don't think too many people I work with mean to sort of put like tons of pressure,
No, same here.
hurry, hurry,
It's
hurry, hurry.
rare.
And
Yeah.
I think, anybody who asks for something, can we get this a little bit sooner? Is really just asking. It's a
Yeah, for sure.
it's not a judgment and those kinds of things.
Hmm.
But because we're human beings, we sometimes feel it in a self-judgmental way,
Yeah.
right? And so that adds a little bit more to that imperative. I've got to rush. This is me. I've got to satisfy this external obligation. But I feel the same thing. Like you have the Frankenstein book, and I have Trundle, and I get writing, and I'm like, you know, I want to get so much more done
Hmm.
than is realistically possible.
Hmm.
And there are times where, because I'm trying to rush, because I'm trying to put words on a page, I'll reach a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm not actually writing right now. I'm just transcribing. And
Yeah.
but I've just spent 20 minutes or 30 minutes or sometimes an hour writing something that I'm not even going to use because it literally is only words on a page. It's not art. It's
Yep.
not creative. And
Hmm.
so how do we obviously when you're completely aware of it, you can rationalize, right? You can say this person isn't asking for me to do something sooner because they're frustrated or angry. They're just asking me a question, so you can
Uh-huh.
rationalize, and then you can sort of say as you're working, oh, I'm rushing to get something done. You know but that's when you're aware.
Yeah.
And where we get into trouble is when we're not aware. So
Yeah.
how do we push back against that imperative?
Well, that's I don't have a good answer really, but what just popped into my head was um this thing that sometimes people do when they are, whatever, trying not to, let me put it this way. You walk through a doorway. You pick any object in your environment. So it could be the doorway, it could be something you look at regularly every time you pick up a pen, and you train yourself to think, am I rushing? So that you remind yourself when you walk through a doorway,
Mm-hmm.
you pause, you come outside yourself. You could take a larger perspective on yourself. You're not just in your head rushing through a doorway to get somewhere. You're actually go, I'm walking
Mm-hmm.
through a doorway. This is my chance to look at myself from outside and go, what's my state of mind right now? What am I doing? And
Mm-hmm.
that way it stops you from doing all kinds of things. And one of those things could be rushing. So it would also stop you from say, getting pissed off about something you have no control over, or it forces you to realize where you're at, which is the point. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, very mindfulness oriented, right?
That's exactly what it
Where,
is. Yeah.
and it's not even so much, I mean, there's a quality of it that's living in the moment,
Yeah.
being very present in the moment, but it's also just noticing everything around you
Hmm.
and trying to have that be more sustainable because the external and internal imperatives to rush are persistent, right?
Persistent, chronic. Actually,
Chronic.
I have another idea that just popped into my head, something I read that said really building your day around what you produce or accomplish um does not it does not in the long run lead you to do anything more than work more, basically, because that's the metric you're using. So how much did I achieve? Oh, I'll just work another 2 hours. Um so another thing you could do is put these sort of pillars in your day, and one of them might be three things that really matter to you. And then when you look back at the end of your day, you look back and go, okay, well, did I do that one thing that really mattered? Did I do that other thing? It's just three things, and it might be anything. Did I listen to music? You know, did I eat a good lunch? Did I take more than 5 minutes off between tasks? What do you think about that
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Yeah, and I know we don't like to do much marketing, and this isn't marketing, but I've got it's called a best self journal.
Ooh.
And this is something I've used these in the past, and I wouldn't say like they're 100%, but they're like 70%, which
Uh-huh.
is meaning, I get about 70% of what I want to get out of it. And it's pretty much kind of a structured journal where you set three goals. It lasts for 13 weeks.
Mm.
It's all about doing that kind of mindfulness,
Yeah.
and it has different ways of um, accomplishing that. So, you set your goal, you create milestones. What are the drivers to achieve the milestones? Those
Yeah.
kinds of things. But then, there's just checklists, right? Like a habit tracker. So you write at here's the things that I want to do on a daily or weekly basis.
Yeah.
You check them off each day. And it's really about getting you to slow down. And it's not even slow down, but instead of maybe scrolling through YouTube soccer videos, I can spend 5 minutes going through and just thinking about the day, right? So I
Hmm.
have these goals, I have these things that I want to do, and I can write down the goal, I can write down the targets, and then I can reflect, at the beginning of the day, and then I can take 5 minutes at the end of the day to reflect, okay, how did it go? What got
Hmm.
me? And so it's definitely about accomplishing a goal and being more productive, and I think that's one of those imperatives to rush is to be more productive.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. I mean, one of my three things that I decided on was to have a half hour of unstructured time.
yeah, yeah. No, I think that's really good. And yeah, and so like with this, it's not slowing down because when you're doing your day, when you're in your work, you're at
Mhm.
your pace.
Yeah, you're at your
But it
pace.
is
Yeah.
about taking that half an hour of unstructured time, which I think just by definition moves a little bit more slowly,
Yes.
is a place to think and ponder,
Yeah.
which gives us the opportunity to say, am I rushing or am I just keeping up a good pace?
Yeah. I mean, because it's goal free, unstructured time, it doesn't have a goal except to set the
Mhm.
timer for 30 minutes, and then I do whatever the fuck I want. And usually it's not goal oriented. So that's the beauty of it, because my entire day other than that is goal oriented. And I'm not just talking about the 10 hours of
Yeah.
work. I'm talking about the 2 hours in the morning where I try to meditate, exercise, write in my journal, blah, 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 blah.
Uh,
And then the 3 to 7 hours after work where I try to drink that entire can of gin.
Come on, it's not just one can.
Woo! You don't know how big the can is.
And that's the best part of the day. Yeah, and then you get back into goal-oriented stuff where it's like I got to get my 8 hours of sleep.
I know, right?
Like even our sleep is goal-oriented. But
It's crazy.
so it's half an hour. How are you structuring it? How are you doing it? How does this work? This
It's
sounds,
unstructured.
I
Um,
know,
how my
but how
structure.
does it work? How does it structure? You know?
I leave the office. I go set a timer,
Uh-huh.
and then I just stand there. Sometimes I stare at the cat for a couple of minutes, see
Oh,
what the
that's
cat's
good.
up to, because I
That's
work at
good.
home, right? So,
Yeah.
I look at the cat. The
Yeah.
whole point is not to have a point. So,
Well,
I'll go stand on. I live in a condo, so I'll stand on my balcony and look at the weather. The
uh-huh.
clouds. If I can watch the clouds for 5 minutes, that's a pretty good thing. But I don't set a time on it. I just, when the timer goes, I decide, um, is my life still worth living? Do I have to go back to work? Because I've had that sweet, sweet taste of freedom.
And this is making me think one of my goals should be for this self journal is really connecting with my cats, building that relationship.
Right?
No, but is it same time every day that you do this?
No, no, I tend to work in sort of a rhythmic, like 90-minute chunks.
Mhm.
That's just my it's probably my focal point limit, and then I'll get up and probably every third, like after three chunks of that, if I haven't done the 30 minutes, it's unlikely I'm gonna do it, so I try to do it within
Mhm.
the first three 90-minute chunks.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And that's one of the things, I get recommended to me a lot. Work for an hour and then take 5 or whatever minutes to do something else, or
Yeah,
work for 3 hours and then and I think that's great, but for me, I once I'm working and I'm going,
yeah.
I just can't stop. I'm in that
Yeah.
that mode until it's time to be done.
Yeah.
But I think, absolutely, and it doesn't have to be in the middle of the day. It could be at the end of the day where you just
Yeah,
have a
exactly.
half an hour to stare out at the clouds and
Yeah. So I don't jump up
whatever.
and start cooking or doing whatever my next chore is, my
Right.
non-work related chore. I absolutely sometimes I'll play a hand of solitaire.
Hmm.
It's the only
Hmm.
card game I like.
Yeah, me too,
Really?
actually. Yeah, truly. Well,
Cat.
I wouldn't say it's the only card game I like, but it's the only one I play.
Yeah, same here. Not big on card games.
Yeah, I like a good game of gin every now and again, but God, it's been years, decades. So, but I like that, and it's just letting whatever thoughts come.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, this has been the mindfulness segment.
yeah. It's coming to
Surprising,
you
surprisingly.
from the paint drying veranda.
Stain.
Stain drying veranda of the clubhouse.
Yep, as our rare species would, it's really sucking in that stain
Sucking it in hard.
hard, big time.
Big
Like
fat drops.
can of gin hard.
Invite you to metaphorically watch it with us.
Yeah. We're just going to leave things quiet for the next 20 minutes. Thanks for listening to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. We'd love to hear how we're doing, so please leave a comment, join our chat page, or send us an email at giftedunderachievers@substack.com. You can also find us on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere else you like to download your podcasts. And as always, please hit the share and/or subscribe button. It really does help. And please have an awesome day.